What up, y'all? It is Dev, and we are back for the extremely rare Sunday edition of 10 Cards Rated, day 287. Are you ready to get back to it, everybody? Haven't hit random in like 2 weeks while we've been doing other Edge of Eternity stuff. I think I'm finally ready to jump back on that horse. We got Zera, Aryan from Legends. Let's go. Look how pretty this is. Look at this Melissa Benson classic right here, dude. Melissa could rock a canvas. Seriously. This is a green, a red, and a black for a 1/2 Insect Wizard. It's a legendary creature with flying. If you pay Jund and tap it, target player draws one card. You can draw yourself a card, I guess. You got a cool, like, Dominaria remastered version of it right here. She looks awesome there with the retro frame. I like that, but there is just nothing like that classic Melissa Benson stuff. Gorgeous. This could actually be, like, not necessarily a commander or anything. I won't say that it's good in that format, but you know, it's actually distinct in that it's better than most of the Legends and Legends. A lot of the Legends and Legends are really, really bad, and at least this one can draw a card. at least it doesn't cost like 7 or 8 mana like a lot of them do. So this one's actually kind of pushed compared to a lot of the other ones. But anyway, this actually reminds me of a scene from Thumbelina. When she meets the Gilbert Gottfried beetle, nobody knows what I'm talking about. She meets the Gilbert Gottfried beetle, and he makes her like dress up like a bug, and she kind of it's a little bit of this steez. I got to be honest, but anyway, I'm gonna give Zera a 3.1. Yeah, she's not very good. Let's be honest with ourselves, but better than a lot of the cards in the set. Weirdly, $23. I bet you can get a like a heavily played copy of this for like $10. I bet you could. It would look nice. And next is, wow, it's Demonic Tutor again. We actually got this one of the last times we were on. I think we gave it like an almost 10, like a 9.9 or something. But it's about as close as you can get to a 10. I'll say again, man, like twice, effectively in the same week of doing this. It's pretty crazy, Demonic Tutor. Act of Authority from Commander 2013, and only that set ever. This is about 75 cents to buy. 3 mana, 1 and double white for an enchantment. When it ETBs, you may exile an artifact or enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may exile target artifact or enchantment. If you do, its controller gains control of Act of Authority. Interesting. So you actually get to blow 2 things up. But then they get to get it. They'll probably get one of your things, but maybe not, right? Like in Commander, I think that if there's just something more important to snag on the board, they'll get that. They won't worry about your stuff. Like unless they're really that retributive, that vengeance minded, I don't think they'll definitely target, your stuff every time with it. I don't know. It's cute. It's kind of a 2-for-1 for only 3 mana, and it gives you an enchantment trigger. It's a permanent on the battlefield you can do stuff with. That's not bad. It also, okay, so the thing doesn't come back when this thing goes. So you could always, play Act of Authority, get the trigger, exile something, and then beginning of your upkeep, put the trigger on the stack, and then like sacrifice Act of Authority to something, right? And your opponents won't get it. That's cute. That's actually really cute. I'm going to give this a 5. I really am. It's a very slow disenchant. And that's not great. You don't want a disenchant that costs more mana, and it's an extra white mana too. It's not even like it's 2 and a white; it's 1 and 2 white. You probably don't want that. But when it's a 2-for-1, and gives you enchantment synergies, like at the same time, like I could make a case for that. I am making a case for that. I'll give it right out of 5. Lockxodon Warhammer. How I love Lockxodon Warhammer. Now you youngins. You youngins probably don't know nothing about this, but this was actually a really, really good standard card for a while. I'm not sure that it was in Mirrodin, to be honest. I think it was a sideboard card in a lot of Affinity decks, mostly for mirrors. But Lockxodon Warhammer was, I feel like, more playable later on. Like when it came out in like 10th edition, it was in a bunch of sideboards then too, and even like 1 and 2 ofs in random mid-range decks. And this card is powerful. This card is very powerful. It gives the creature lifelink and I haven't even read the card. 3 mana for an equipment that equips for 3. Equipped creature gets +3/+0, has trample and lifelink. And that's a really good set of different things to give a creature. +3/+0 and lifelink is a good combination because you're gaining a lot more life when the creature swings. If the creature's just a 1/1, suddenly it's a 4 power trample lifelink. It just on like a lot of War Elves, which is good enough, but you know, if you put it on like a 3 power guy, suddenly a 6 power trample lifelink is going to do some damage for you. Even if they kill that guy, well, now your next guy is like a 5 power trample lifelink. They have to kill the Warhammer to really do anything, and they can't. Basically, every creature you play is a threat, so long as you have a Lockxodon Warhammer. Whether it's like a 1/1 token or something, it doesn't matter. So Warhammer was a phenomenal card. It helps you break through the line with the trample. That helps an awful lot too. It also helps with the crackback. Like you're more confident getting through, swinging a creature in, and even if the creature dies, who cares? I gain the life, I get in a little bit of damage, I trade on blocks or whatever, and I can just staple the Warhammer to something else. This was a really popular commander card for a few years too, although I'm not sure that it still is, but a copy of Warhammer will run you close to $1 almost no matter which one you're getting, so that's got to mean something, right? Man, you can get that 9th edition foil with the black border for $4. I think that's probably a good call, but anyway, y'all, yeah, bottom line, Lockxodon Warhammer is a hell of a drug. This card, I'm going to give a 6.2. Mostly because of memories, but I still think the card like jams. I do think this card just like absolutely rocks out all day. Play this card if you haven't yet. It's really fun. But next is Death Gazer from Mercadian Masks originally. This is what a great set. It's 4 mana, 3 and a black for a 2/2 lizard. Whenever Death Gazer blocks or becomes blocked by a non-black creature, destroy that creature at end of combat. So like a form of Death Touch, kind of a little bit. But still not great. 4 mana, 2/2, sort of Death Touch, but not against, like, you know, black creatures. I think it's pretty bad. So I'm going to give this a 2. Probably doesn't deserve that, to be honest. Just being really generous. It's a lizard. Look at its silly teeth and horn. I like the Donato Giancola. Well, that explains. I like pretty much anything Donato Giancola. So. Neheb, Dread Horde Champion, a really weird looking version of it from the Secret Lair drop. I do like the fact that it's retro frame, but note that there's not a whole lot of like cracks in the frame or anything. It's just like solid red. It's kind of weird, but anyway, this is originally from War of the Spark. It's a cool card. It's about 50 cents to buy. It costs 4 mana, 2 and double red for a 5/4 legendary zombie minotaur warrior with trample. Whenever Neheb, Dread Horde Champion, deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, you may discard any number of cards. If you do, draw that many cards, add that much red. Till end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases in. So a 5 power trample is probably going to do some combat damage, which means it's probably going to get some mana for you. You can even hit planeswalkers with it, still get the mana. You draw that many cards too. It's wild. Like this gets through for 2 trample damage, draw 2, make 2 red is wild. That's so good, man. A card costs, 4 mana, but I don't think that's too much. I might still play this in a lot of red decks in Commander at 5 mana. So I think the Neheb is wonderful. It's especially good in a deck with multiple combat steps that plays like Relentless Assault effects and stuff like that. There's a couple of equipments that can double its combat damage, right? So there's that. Altogether, man, the Neheb is a great little magic card. I've actually most recently played this in Black Waltz number 3. I gave it a tryout, and it wasn't too bad. I needed more threats in that deck, but ultimately I went with the plan of like pingers. You know what I mean? We're going to play gutter snipes upon gutter snipes upon gutter snipes upon gutter snipes and kind of make it work that way. But while he was in the deck, Neheb was okay, man. It really was. Got to resolve this against Jason. It's a matter of last time he was down. We played 1v1 Commander. And altogether, yeah, man, the card can make a fair amount of mana and draw a bunch of cards. So I like it. I'm going to give Neheb a pretty sturdy 6 here. I like this card an awful lot. I really do. But next is, it's Wart the Raid Mother. I got some memories with this too from Shadowmoor. I have more with the Auntie. The Rakdos Auntie legend. I think she's really good, but Wart's fine too, man. 4 and then 2 Gruul hybrids for a 3/3 legendary Goblin Shaman. When Wart the Raid Mother comes into play, put 2 1/1 red and green Goblin Warrior creature tokens into play. Each red or green instant or sorcery spell you play has Conspire. So as you play the spell, you can tap 2 untapped creatures you control that share a color with the spell you're casting. When you do, copy the spell. Choose new targets for the copy. So Wart's really fun. This was actually a fairly celebrated commander for a little while, but I haven't really seen her talked about in 5 years or something like that. But I think that she is still a really unique Gruul commander. You don't see a whole lot of Gruul Commanders like this. Mostly Gruul Commanders smash. Even though this is kind of expensive to get out in the first place, you're in the colors that can get it out like faster than most other colors. So there's that. And you probably have a bunch of, guys. Even if those guys are mana dorks, by the time you play Ward, you have 6 mana. So that means you can convert some of your mana guys to, instead of tapping for mana, they tap to Conspire, copy your removal spells, copy your big dumb get mana spells and Brass's bounties and all that kind of stuff. Copy your, I don't know, Iron Crag feats or something. Copy your Seething Songs and other make mana spells in red and stuff like that. Copy your Chaos Warps. Copy your big dumb red mythics and stuff. There's lots of things that this can copy. So, or that this can help copy spells with. So again, you usually Gruul smash and it's not that interesting. This one helps you attack. This one helps you attack too. Stuff like that. But ultimately, yeah, I think that Ward is really, really neat as a Gruul commander. You don't see stuff like this every day. So I'm going to give this a 5.2. Mostly just because of unique commander brew around ability and all that. But I think that goes a long way when you're ranking casual commander cards. Next is Warrior's Oath from Portal 3 Kingdoms. It's $137. If you want a copy from Double Masters, though, don't worry. It's $5. So, but anyway. This is 2 red mana for a sorcery. Take another turn after this one. At the end of that turn, you lose the game. Yikes. So there's a couple of cards in red, or at least there's one card in red. I believe this is aping. Now that I think about it, I think there are 2 cards in red that this is aping. But one, I think, was in Guilds of Ravnica, or a relatively recent, last 5 years set. Now that I think about it. Yeah, it was a 2 of, what was it called? Alchemist Gambit or something? Maybe I'm wrong, but it was a 2 of in the Nexus of Fate deck some of the time as copies 5 and 6 of an extra turn effect. But in any case, yeah, this is obviously pretty good. This is all right. I don't know how much you're going to be playing this in Commander. To be honest, I think it is a pretty big gamble, but it's Time Walk. It's 2 mana for Time Walk, and if you've engineered things correctly, you probably will win the game. So, I can't say the card's not powerful, but pretty massive downside to a Time Walk. So I'm going to give this an 8.7. I think that it's, obviously it's still pretty, is that too high? Let me know in the comments. Is that a little bit too high? But I don't think so. I think take another turn after this one for 2 men is a 10. If it were Time Walk, it'd be a 10. I think I've already given Time Walk a 10. So I'm gonna dip into the 8s here, but I still think an 8.7 is about right. Next is Shared Fate. Cool card from Mirrodin. They knew it was cool too. They printed it on the list as well. Shared Fate is 5 mana, 4 and a blue for an enchantment. If a player would draw a card, that player removes the top card of an opponent's library from the game face down instead. Each player may look at and play cards he or she removed from the game with Shared Fate as though they were in his or her hand. So you draw a card. Everyone draws cards from their opponent's decks. Interestingly, it says an opponent's library, and the Oracle text clarifies one of their opponent's libraries is where they draw from. So they get to choose. You always get to choose where you draw the cards from, which I think is really neat. But note, too, the card does not say that you can spend mana of any color to play the cards or anything. It does not say that. But you can get their lands and stuff, too, this way. So really neat sort of chaos card, but I'm not sure what you actually do with this card in a game of Commander. Because, you want to build your deck to work with your cards. So I'm not too sure how great the card is, but I will give this a 3.8 just because it's got, it's really unique. There's not a lot of cards like this. And again, some people just want to watch the world burn. You know what I mean? Mr. Wayne. So I think that there are going to be some people who are into the idea. But next is Mountain. That's a 5. Wouldn't be one of these videos without a basic. So let's move on to Capsize. I love Capsize. Man, the F&M one is $42. That's a lot for this. Let's just look at the Tempest one. So you see this is in a World Championship deck, and it's actually kind of inverted. This is $2 from the World Championship deck. $2. But the one from regular Tempest is $1.20. Weird. It's a little bit, usually that's not the case. But Capsize is a ridiculous Magic card that I've got some good memories with and a lot of nightmares. I will still wake up screaming at 4 o'clock in the morning, Capsize! They bought it back again. This doesn't really look like much. This card does not look like much, but trust me, 3 mana, 1 and double blue for an instant with buyback 3. That means that when you play the spell, you can pay 3 mana, and when you do, it goes back to your hand after it resolves, rather than going to your yard. Return target permanent to its owner's hand. Now, first of all, that doesn't say non-land permanent. It doesn't say that. So that's stupid. So your opponent will capsize your lands, especially when they've gotten to the point where they can now cast capsize multiple times in a turn and buy it back both times. And yes, I know that costs like 12 mana, but it happens. When you get to that point in the game, you're done. You're basically done because like you're losing your land. You can only cast one thing a turn. Well, they'll just capsize the thing that you cast and one of your lands, and you're losing value as time goes on. They'll also eventually draw a removal spell to kill whatever you played, and then they can capsize like 2 of your lands in the same turn. And just like this card was a problem. It really, really was. I'm not sure that it's still great in Commander, where it really does cost a lot of mana, but you have a lot of mana. This is a brutal cube card. It's probably going to be the cube card of the day if I had to guess. And we've seen a couple of good ones too. But yeah, capsize, I want to give the honorary 5 to, because it's such a part of my childhood. But I actually think that this is better than just a stock 5. I'm going to give capsize a big boy 6, mostly because of what it's been able to do in the past in competitive play. But I still think that this is an interesting cube card. And depending on the deck you're in, this could be a playable commander card. In 1v1s, it really shines because, again, you can get the tempo of your opponent. It's just you and them, so you go, capsize, buyback, capsize, buyback. They go, capsize, buyback, capsize, buyback. Whereas, against 3 other people, it's a little bit harder to establish that pattern. But I'm still going to give this like a close to at least a 6.5. Just what a banger of a Magic card it's been. The whole time it's been available to play. And if you've never played against capsize, even on like a kitchen table, you don't know the pain. You don't know the pain. Don't come at me. Let me know in the comments if you have played against it. That's what I want to know. What are your nightmarish experiences against capsize? Next is Scavenged Brawler from Brothers War Commander. This is 6 mana for a 4/4 artifact creature. It's construct with flying, vigilance, trample, and lifelink. Okay, so 6 mana, 4/4, flying, vigilance, trample, lifelink. Okay. Pay 5 mana and exile it from your yard to choose a creature. Put 4 +1/+1 counters. Okay, so just turn a creature into this, right? Put 4 +1/+1 counters, a flying counter, a vigilance counter, a trample counter, and a lifelink counter on the creature. Activate only as a sorcery. So 5 mana sorcery speed. Yikes. But this card's $2.50. So somebody's doing it. This is like a Carsey Revenant, but better. Like a Carsey Revenant that also gives the creature like its power and toughness, which is really good. Yeah, this is probably fine. Sorry for doing the thing with my tongue. I keep getting comments like, don't click your tongue. And it's just kind of a natural thing that I do without thinking about it. I'm trying to get better about it. But anyway. Yeah, Scavenged Brawler looks pretty sweet for Commander, man. Especially in artifact-focused decks, but even if you're just playing like big guys, like it seems kind of fine. Playing a mill deck, like self-mill deck, put this in your yard and you can still do something with it. That's good. So I'm going to give Brawler like, it's been a good day as far as like overall like average score. It's been okay. I'm going to give this like a 5.3. Maybe it should be more, right? I'm going to give this a 5.4. I'm going to actually do that, guys. Oh, wow. We're 18 minutes in and I still have to do a bonus card. What's it going to be? Grey Knight Paragon. It's from Warhammer 40k. Paragon is 5 mana, 4 and a white for a 4/4 Astartes Knight with flash. It has Rites of Banishment. When it enters the battlefield, destroy an attacking creature. If that creature is a demon, exile it instead. That's cute. We could use that in standard. Not really, because it costs 5 mana. That's a bit much for just about any format. But you do get a 4/4 flash and exile any attacker. That's okay. I could see this being fun. Again, a cubable card more than anything. I'm going to give this a 3.6. I think this is slightly better than it may appear. It's drafty, but still okay. Still okay. But that is it for our return today. I'm going to try to batch some more, but I got a lot of stuff to get to this week. Hopefully you'll see me on Monday. Hopefully. I'll be back no matter what, though. I will always be here waiting for you and for our next adventure together. I make that promise to you, and I mean it. Love you guys. Bye.